Wow, that's such a bad take.
Shut the fuck up. Gen 9 easily has the worst roster of legendaries, and that's saying something given the absolute affront to the senses that Gen 5 was. I'm not even gonna bother wasting any time, I'm just gonna jump right into it. Starting off with what I think is the least offensive legendary group, the Treasures of Ruin. Now, before I get into it, I just want to say that I think that Chien Pao and Ting Lu are exempt from this because I actually think that those are pretty cool designs. My issue with this group lies with Wo Chien and Chi Yu. I don't necessarily despise these, but my problem with them is the fact that they look fucking stupid. Chi Yu is really just kind of boring. I mean, it's a goldfish, and like, yeah, it swims across magma lakes or whatever, but like, that's not gonna save him from being a boring design. And then Wo Chien, I don't even know what to say about this one. It's like, it's so lame, and then there's like a whole cult following behind it. I don't know if that's because like it's the worst one, or if there's actually just something about it that I'm not seeing. But this design looks like complete ass, bro. And the stupid Wo Chien reaction memes aren't doing it any favors. You know how vehemently I speak against Pokemon memes because they all suck hot ass cheeks. Well, here's something for you to live Wo Chien reaction to. This design sucks balls. Chi Yu at the very least has these stupid, absurd, over-the-top damage calculations that's kind of funny, just seeing how much amounts of damage that it can put out. But Wo Chien isn't even good. It's bad, it looks bad, and if you like it, you're a masochist. That's all I can say. Koraidon and Miraidon look like complete shit. As funny as I think it would be to leave it off like that, I guess I should probably give some actual reasons as to why I don't like them. Let me get one thing out of the way before somebody tries to go like, oh, you just don't like them because they're broken and they're overpowered. I barely play competitive, and when I do, I don't play Ubers because I think that tier is boring, so it has nothing to do with how good they are. It's purely from like a design standpoint. I think that these two Pokemon look like garbage. For starters, they're way too over-designed. Now, I know that Legendaries being over-designed isn't exactly a new concept, but the reason why I don't mind it when other Legendaries do it is because typically they're just their own standalone Pokemon and they're not based off of something else. These two are essentially paradox forms of Cyclozar, who I think actually looks pretty cool. I know, that's kind of ironic, isn't it? But yeah, I think that these two just overcomplicate the design way too much. They're trying to do so much at once that it just kind of makes them look clunky and bad. It also doesn't help that they have to serve as like Swiss Army knife all-terrain vehicles that can traverse all types of terrain, obviously, and that just goes to further worsen the issue. The stupid little ride forms aren't doing them any favors either. I know that it's not exactly Koraidon's fault because it's just the way that Scarlet and Violet looks, but oh my god, its bike form is so ugly. The textures that they use look nasty. The way that its shoulders kind of pop out of its sides, they don't look right. And then its eyeballs, they're just bulging out of the sides of its head, and it looks so gross. And Miraidon isn't much better, especially when it's not in motion. In motion, it's kind of like a motorcycle, which I guess is kind of cool. But then when it uses its legs as little makeshift kickstands, it looks terrible. Seeing Koraidon in motion in battle does kind of alleviate my seething disgust with its design. But Miraidon, I can't exactly say the same for. That stupid little Jesus Messiah pose that it's just floating there in. It doesn't make it look cool. It makes it look like a pompous, pretentious douchebag. And also the way that its legs fold up just kind of, doesn't look right. I'm not exactly sure why they made it shaped like this, but oh man. I've already said it enough in this video. And also the way that its neck is just like completely elongated for no reason. Grody. The last thing that I want to say about this legendary duo is the fact that it just feels kind of unoriginal and uninspired. They've already got the Cyclozar thing going against them, but then when you look at their types, Dragon is like the second most common type used on legendary Pokemon, especially box art legendaries. And also, like, what they do is just kind of rehashing what old legendaries did. I mean, Koraidon has the exact same type as Kommo-o while having the exact same ability pretty much as Groudon, except it's even more absurd. And then Miraidon has the exact same type as Zekrom, and it summons electric terrain just like Tapu Koko did. Now, I know that they don't play similarly at all, but it doesn't change the fact that it just feels kind of unoriginal and boring. Now, if I'm being completely honest with you, I honestly don't hate the Loyal 3 entirely. My feelings on this group of Pokemon kind of fluctuates. Either I think that they're the worst thing ever, or I think that they're just kind of there. I do think Monkey Dory is probably my favorite out of the 3, though that's not really saying much. Why? It's because I've got like a massive bias towards monkeys and monkey Pokemon, so yeah, he's kind of got that going for him. Okidoki is kind of just like a fusion between Toxicroak and Incineroar, and I think that's kind of gross and Pheasantipity. I mean, yeah, it's a bird. It's not a flying type. It's Poison Fairy, so I guess that's cool. It kind of just... this group exists. That's really all I can say. That's probably not negative enough, so here, have this. They look like bad Fakemon, but I like the typing. Well said, my general gangster. Well said. Now, this may be a little bit disappointing to some of you, and even a little bit surprising considering the fact that I seem to hate every single Pokemon that people like, but I actually do like Ogerpon. I don't think it's the best Pokemon ever or anything like that. It's probably not even in my top 100, 200 even, but it's a good Pokemon. Seeing just how many people kind of obsessed over this Pokemon ever since it was introduced does make me like it a little bit less, but I do still like it. Yeah, never mind, this Pokemon fucking sucks. Alright, I promise this is where the positivity is gonna end. When I said that the Treasures of Ruin were the least offensive group to me, it was kind of a lie, because I do actually like these guys. Well, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about Raging Bolts. I don't know if I think it looks cool or if it's like the stupidest fucking thing ever. Either way, Gouging Fire and Walking Wake at the very least, I can say definitely keep this group from being in the worst category for me. I do think that it would have been way cooler if Entei was the one who got turned into a T-Rex, but you know what? You get what you get. And it finally puts Entei, the leader of the group. I don't know why they've been riding on Suicune's meat so hard, but Entei, the actual leader of the group, finally gets to have some viability in OU vicariously through Gouging Fire, which is awesome. And Raging Bolts, Farigiraf better. I don't know what to say. Farigiraf owns you. You're owned. This group right here, much like all the rest of the Violet Paradoxes, is
me, fucking boring.
They took a trio of what was already a bunch of ugly shit designs, made them look a little bit more alien and robotic looking, and then shat out 3 chrome encrusted turds. It would be a genuine challenge for me to find something creative to say about them, because really all there is to say is that they just look like slightly uglier versions of their already ugly Unovan counterparts. I think just about the only positive thing that I can say about this entire trio is that Iron Crown has a good fainting animation. Yes, I repeat, the only good thing about this trio is when one of its members is dying. It stings even more because the little concept art of them all fused together in the Scarlet and Violet books, it actually looks really cool, just like the Paradox Beast one, except those guys actually look like decent Pokemon on their own without, you know, that little amalgamation needing to carry them. These guys, they look like shit on their own. Now, it's no surprise to anybody who knows me that I fucking despise Terapagos. I mean, I've made 2 whole videos on it, and honestly, in those 2 videos, I haven't actually said much in terms of why I actually don't like it. Well, no, I said plenty in the first video, but I didn't word it very eloquently, so let me try and fix that, at least a little bit in this little third hit piece on Terapagos. Before I actually start getting into the nitty-gritty as to why I don't like it, I just want to say that I think a big part of that is just the expectations that I had. I mentioned this in the first video, but the third legendaries of prior generations looked way cooler than Terapagos. Even without the other forms to back it up, I think Necrozma solos this dude's entire bloodline. Now, is that necessarily Terapagos' fault? No, but I mean, it's Terapagos, so I'm still gonna blame it anyways. Fuck this thing. Now, as for Terapagos itself, the whole design is just kind of like ugly. In the little baby form, it's got that long ass neck with those, you know, tortoise body proportions, but it's got this tiny little shell that doesn't cover its body at all, like most tortoises actually would have. So it's just got these really weird lanky limbs on its tiny little shell body, and the proportions are just fucked. It's got that nasty ugly little gem thing at the top of its head. I don't even know what to call that, a dreadlock. And it's got it's got earrings, bro. Why the fuck does it have earrings? It's a tortoise. What does it need earrings for? Not to mention those stupid little cock rings on its long ass legs, and the choker that it has on its neck. And this isn't even to mention the fucking eyeliner that it has around its eyes. For what reason? Honestly, Nemo, you might have been onto something with this.
Yo!
And honestly, the rest of it would just be me repeating myself. I mean, what can I say about the Terastal form? It's nasty, flowing, ugly, disgusting little dream catcher tails. They're hideous. Its beard is crusty and gross. Its face, it has a receding hairline, bro. It looks like a mall Santa with his fucking hat taken off because he's like 60 billion years old, and his hairline is all the way at the back of his fucking neck. That's what Terapagos looks like. And then the little planet globe form that they hyped up for a year and a half just for it to end up looking like complete shit when it came out and having a super garbage type attached to it. Fuck this thing, bro. I hate Terapagos so much. I despise it. Whoever designed this should be fired. They should be put on the streets because this fucking sucks, dude. I remember some guy in the Smogon Discord server said that I wouldn't say this to Terapagos' face. No hate to that guy, but bro, I would say so much worse. They would have to cut that scene out of the game because I would have stomped this fucking nasty little shit into a fine powder and then scattered its little ashes throughout the wind. There'd be no more Terapagos. Last and almost least, almost because just so happened to be fortunate enough to come right after Terapagos in the decks, we've got Pecharunt. I know I've been making a lot of ad hominem attacks on these Pokemon throughout this video, but this has to be one of the ugliest, most boring mythical Pokemon that we've gotten thus far, which is honestly just kind of synonymous with Gen 9 at this point. Having super boring and ugly designs, it's fitting that Pecharunt follows that. This is just kind of a Gen 9 issue, like I said, but a lot of these designs just kind of lack that oomph, and the Pecharunt is no different. The little backstory doesn't make me like it anymore. I can't even really bring myself to hate it. I just don't care. It's super forgettable, and honestly, if it weren't for the event, then this would probably be my least favorite mythical Pokemon, but Fiona exists, so I guess it's got that going for it. So, what's the bottom line here? God damn, I hate Terapagos.